gonna do us some theme music really quick. Welcome to the OutLoud&Awkward podcast with two grown men sit in one man's basement and talk about everything that they love. Look into my eyes while I say this. Don't look away. Don't ever look away.
I'm deep in
I'm your host, Richard, and with me is my co-host,
Christian.
That is right. It is you. I was making sure you weren't an alien in disguise.
Hail Hydra.
What? That fits our theme for this episode, too, which most of you probably already know.
Favorite DCEU movies.
Oh, yeah. That's right. Mine's Batman v... Oh, wait, no. Justice League. Not
Bro,
the
Wonder
Snyder
Woman's right
Cut.
there.
Wonder Woman 2? 1984.
No. No.
Alright. What have you been up to? What's been going on in the life of Christian?
Well, Spectacular
Working at-
Spider-Man just got put on Netflix, so I had to binge that.
Oh yeah, I forgot
In,
you
like,
sent me that.
I'd say 2 days. Like that's not really that. Compared to some people, how they binge, it's not really that crazy. But for me, I lose attention. I have a short attention span whenever it comes to watching shows. I get bored quick, but I love that show. I don't like all the Spider-Man cartoons, even the ones people say are shitty.
Yeah.
I can still watch.
Well, as a married man, I've been watching the Great Food Truck Challenge on Discovery Plus. It's a great show to watch on Sunday night.
So you're saying single people can't watch that?
Yeah, that's exactly what I'm saying. So you never watch it. Now go home and watch it, so then you can prove me wrong.
I'm
And I
fine
can look like
odds.
the big fat liar. I've also been, finished up Captain Marvel, Miss Marvel.
Yeah, same.
We've already talked about that
Yeah.
in the last episode. We're not going to bring that up again.
Great post credits though.
Oh yeah, I really enjoyed that. Other than that, been raising my son. That's about it.
Yeah, we don't care about that
This
stuff,
is a dad
though.
podcast
Boo,
again. We're
boring.
bringing that back in. But yeah, nothing else really going on. So hopefully over the weeks I can get into more stuff. I've just been kind
Nerd
of
stuff.
watching the same thing over and over again. I mean, I'm still reading One Piece, but that's all I've been doing,
Well,
I guess.
Then Chainsaw Man 2 start.
Oh, did it really?
Yeah.
I didn't know that, so I'm probably going to watch that.
Jeez, Richard. Watch.
Read. I'm gonna
Jeez,
watch. When does
Richard.
the anime for that come out?
I don't know. I loved Chainsaw Man when I read it, but whenever I finished it, I was like, I don't need any more of this at all, anime
Really?
or manga. It was like such a one-off for me.
It was pretty good. It was a good ending to that
Yeah.
phase, I guess. I'm excited to see it come back, though. So,
Yeah. I'm just excited for Bleach.
So I'll probably get into that. That'll probably be my thing that I did
That'll be
next
your
week.
personality for
That'll
a
be
while.
that'll be my thing next week. Whereas right now my thing is I know nothing about Cirque du Freak.
We'll learn one day, folks. There's a great movie everybody loves about it.
Oh man. Alright, so for this episode we're gonna do the ranking of our Phase One, not our Phase One, but the MCU's Phase One movies. I am all over the place in this one. I'm probably running on like 40% right now. Had to pull that in. I am running low on energy right now. So let's get into it. Let's get this over with.
Shit. That's what you love to hear people that you're listening to say.
Yep, that for sure is.
I'm down.
All right, but we're gonna be ranking Phase One movies. We're probably gonna do.
Last to first, like least favorite to
Oh,
favorite.
do you wanna do it that
yeah,
way?
okay.
Well,
Well, we want it to have kind of a good payoff.
Yeah.
We don't want to be like, we like these ones, and then these ones,
This
who
is the
cares?
ones we hate. We hate.
Even I don't hate any of them.
Yeah, they're a good start to what the MCU is. But what I was gonna say was before I was rudely interrupted.
What?
Shut up.
What?
But we're gonna do Phase One, and then another week Phase Two, and then Phase Three, Phase Four. try to give Phase 4 enough time to breathe and they can get enough stuff out with, Thor just coming out. I think we're about almost halfway through Phase 4 stuff.
I think we're getting close to the end of Phase 4 stuff.
Are we? Okay.
I think
I'm
they
hoping
said that.
so. I'm ready for it to be over by now. But hopefully eventually we can get to Phase 4 stuff and knock all that out. I think that would be a lot of fun to go through this like mini series, I guess, more or less.
Yep.
So, do you want to go first, or you want me to?
Bottom of my list.
I looked at your list and I realized I forgot a movie, so I'm gonna go and add that movie in really fast.
Bottom of my list is Incredible Hulk. I know this is a pretty played out, like, when people sit there and think about their least favorite MCU movies, I feel like Incredible Hulk and Thor 2 are the go-tos, but I didn't hate Incredible Hulk, it's just boring.
I'm sorry, I'm not adding anything into this because I was typing. Okay,
the Hulk
ahead.
design is awesome, the Hulk
Yeah.
like, Hulk is scary in this movie, and I love that.
Yeah.
I don't hate where his characters went from there, but
He doesn't
I do
have the
miss
same
it.
kind of
I do
anger
miss
that
it.
he does anymore. that anger has kind of been dulled. now.
Yeah. I mean, it's good for the character to grow, but,
Yeah.
no matter how much they grow and how much you love their development, you do miss certain aspects sometimes.
Oh yeah, definitely. For me, the bottom of the list is also Hulk. I feel like
You read my list. That's what you were doing. You were changing
That was the one I
yours.
forgot was Hulk. No, actually, the one I forgot was Iron Man 2. Even though I listed all of them off in the car, I still forgot about Iron Man 2. No, but I put the Hulk at the bottom because even though it's a good setup for the character of Hulk, it feels like a pretty bland movie, and for the most part, I can't remember anything that happens in that movie. Besides, that big battle near the end with him and Abomination and then them at the college.
Yeah.
I don't remember most of anything that happens in that movie. It's still
boring.
a really good action-packed movie, but it's pretty slow for the most part. And I think the fact that, they originally wanted Mark Ruffalo, but then they got...
Edward Norton.
And Norton does a good job. But
yeah, but it's weird now.
But they do the same thing in Iron Man.
Which is also kind of...
Well, now it's not weird because he's been in it. But
Yeah.
going back and rewatching that one, you're kind of like, who's this guy? I don't remember this guy. And you're like, oh, wait, he's that guy. But I think for them to do that with such a main character, it really throws everything off a little bit. But... overall, I still enjoyed it. Still at the bottom of my list. Not the bottom overall, but still the bottom. So.
Yeah, it's one of my least favorites. In the overall MCU.
Do you want me to go next, or you want to?
Yeah, you go ahead.
All right, for my next one is Iron Man 2.
Wow.
I know.
How basic.
It's just who I am. My list is pretty basic, I think.
Mine, I think, has a few surprises, so it's pretty basic as well.
Because, there's not a lot in Phase 1 besides, the main Avengers. So, really, there's 6 movies?
Black Widow should have got a movie in this phase.
Oh, God. But it's a good movie, don't get me wrong. I loved Iron Man 2. But compared to the first one and everything else from this list on, I don't like it as much. I don't like what they did with the villain. I think Whiplash could have been so much better written than what he was. And basically Tony's real story I didn't care about that much. He was being poisoned by his own heart, and that was cool. And then, I don't know.
I love a good poisoning.
Yeah. But I like the introduction because this is the one we get introduced to Black Widow, right? In this one?
Yes.
And so I kind of like the introduction of Nick Fury and Black Widow, and we get to see them do something. And so I thought that was really awesome. Pepper Potts' character has been great, and I think every single Iron Man movie that she's been in. And
Agreed.
Happy Hogan is just a good, laughable character.
Yeah.
And
hey, Happy Hogan started the MCU.
he
He directed
did.
Iron Man.
he he built
the character.
the MCU.
The character. Happy Hogan directed Iron Man.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, other than that, it was a good movie overall. I really enjoyed it. I just think it's kind of slow and boring at some points, and I think the villain could have been so much better. He's not very well remembered. He didn't do very much, and then the only thing that I really remember is that like final fight scene, you know, where all the drones are starting to attack, and I don't remember much else past that. So, but I enjoyed it. Definitely not the top. It's not the bottom of all of my MCU, but it's not the top. So it's definitely mid-ground for everything.
Yeah.
But, yeah. What's your next one?
Iron Man 1. I'm sure.
See, that's so crazy because I think Iron Man 1 is so much better. Like,
honestly, for the most part,
I think it's such a better setup.
It's so important for everything. A solo, an origin story that is actually good.
Hey, it's like the basis.
Yeah.
For like every other MCU
it's the building
movie
block.
Is like
tossing out
like,
the secret identity.
Yeah, they're like, let's do the Iron Man 1 thing. So that's why I really enjoyed it because.
But it's boring. It's so boring to me in so many spots that it's not rewatchable, I think.
Yeah.
And that's kind of a lot of these movies I haven't seen in a while, so I'm basing a lot of them on what I rewatch. And Iron Man 1, no, I probably won't unless I was just binging the whole MCU.
I liked it so much more than the second one, but I agree. I don't think it's an amazing MCU movie. A lot of the Iron Man ones, though, they were like pretty much the building blocks for what the MCU is. They're not as good as like everything that came after them. I don't think so. Except Iron Man 3, that's the best one.
I'll be honest, I probably would say Iron Man 3 is my favorite out of the Iron Mans.
Oh, really? I like the first one out of all of them.
I think Iron Man 3 gets too much black, even though I understand why.
Yeah.
For me, it's fun.
Yeah. Okay.
Iron Man 1, I do enjoy it, but...
You ready for my next one?
Yeah.
Iron Man 1. I got Iron Man 1 just above Iron Man 2. And I mean, I agree with everything you said. Like, it's amazing building block for the MCU, but it's kind of overall it's pretty slow near the beginning, and then it kind of picks up some pace. You don't really care for the main villain, Ironmonger. I mean, you don't see you don't see him do anything either. That's what kind of sucks. Is like you don't really see him fight Ironmonger until just the very end.
Yeah.
And so it's just kind of like you have all this setup and all this build of him like doing a bunch of this like other stuff, which is really cool to watch, but you want to see him fight his big villain like a bunch, and we only see him do it one time, and then he gets taken out pretty quick. So it's like, well, okay, that wasn't a very good payoff to what we were hoping for, but it's a good setup for what is to come. So that's why I had it a little bit higher than obviously what you did, but definitely not as grand. So yeah,
cool.
I couldn't really add anything else because we just talked about it. So
then I guess I'll go ahead and say Thor.
This is so funny. I think we're gonna be like I'm literally ranking. Besides Iron Man 2, when you get to that one, because I already said it,
but Thor, it was fun, but I would say just like Love and Thunder, it's fun, but that's it. It doesn't really give me a huge emotional beats, or it doesn't add too much to the wider world. Obviously, there is some stuff like Hawkeye's first appearance.
Yeah.
But go ahead.
Oh no, I don't mean to interrupt you. Go ahead. I was just trying to get payback for you interrupting me.
The stuff in the town, I love. The stuff, I know people like Darcy now, but they definitely didn't back here.
Yeah.
But I enjoyed all the Friends stuff. I thought it was just fun comedy that's not too much comedy.
Friends.
Yeah, I enjoyed that stuff. The Destroyer was a cool villain. He, not huge scale, but it was fun. One of the best Stan Lee cameos, I definitely say, with him trying to get the hammer to move in his pickup truck or whatever.
Yeah, I agree with that. I definitely enjoyed the movie. I agree with you on that. I think I do like the fact that they changed Thor's character so much from what he was in the old MCU versus how he is now.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Because I think his character, especially back then, because I'm gonna go ahead and say it. My next one, my number, what are we on? 3? Yeah, for me it's 3. For you, you're still on 4. But my number 3 is Thor, and I think so. Yeah. I enjoyed the movie. I liked it more than Iron Man 1 and 2. I think it told a better story. I was a little bit more interested in it. I liked what he kind of did. I didn't care for Loki. I cared for Jane Foster. I liked Darcy. I liked the whole science team. I liked the setup of more S.H.I.E.L.D. in this than most of the other ones. Because I felt like we got to see more of S.H.I.E.L.D., especially in this one.
Well, we see Coulson a decent bit, don't we?
Yeah. We see him and we see Hawkeye just like a couple scenes. Because we see Hawkeye when Thor tries to go and take the hammer out. And this Hawkeye's just like, you want me to take the shot? Who's this guy? But I really enjoyed it. I think it was a good setup for Thor as a character. Like I said, I do like that they changed his character because I do think that going back and looking at the original Thor, he was kind of slow. And
he was a little stiff, wasn't he?
Yeah, it felt like he wasn't doing very much. Like, it felt like, especially Natalie Portman's character, I felt like she made Thor look better on screen than what he was. Like,
you like the eyebrows, though.
Oh, yeah. His blonde dyed eyebrows that he had. Was he wearing a wig in the first one?
Yes.
I can't remember because I know he grew out his hair for one of them, but I can't remember which one.
I think the second one.
Because the first one,
I missed the short hair dude.
I do too. I like he looked so much better with the short hair. But I love that movie. I think it's definitely a classic. It's better than Dark World, I think. It's definitely not better than Ragnarok or Love and Thunder, I think, but I definitely like it more than at least most of these phase ones. So that's my number 3 is Thor.
Next up for me is Iron Man 2, and this was basically neck and neck with Thor.
We're flying these right now. We should probably take our time.
Well, think about what we still have though.
Yeah, I guess that's true because I bet our number 1 is exactly the same.
Probably. But Iron Man 2 and Thor were neck and neck. I mean, they're both fun, but kind of just whatever movies for me. Like, they don't have any kind of lasting impact.
They don't really set up. I mean, besides
they set up, but at that time, when these movies were coming out, I didn't care.
Yeah.
It was just kind of like, oh, these things are kind of tying together. That's cool, but it was just whatever.
Yeah, I agree.
But they were fun. Iron Man 2, I agree with everything you said. The villain is... Who cares? I don't think anybody's begging for Whiplash to come back.
No. I think...
But the race car sequence was amazing.
In Monaco, the Monaco Formula 1 Grand Prix.
And that's...
Let me just pull out some Formula 1 knowledge for you. I'm the guy who knows everything about
Formula
1. Just kidding. I've only really watched the past 3 years, so... You should watch it. It's pretty good. It's good fun. But yeah, I love that. I loved watching the Monaco... Like them in Monaco and like Tony Stark pulls out the briefcase. That is probably the best scene. I totally forgot about that when I was talking about it for me.
They forced in every trailer. How could you forget?
That's true. He just like whips out the briefcase and like puts it on. And I was just like, oh my god, like this is really cool. This is like comic book Iron Man when he like kind of would hide his suits away back when, he didn't want people to know he was also Tony Stark, but they kind of threw that out, which I'm okay with, but...
I mean, he says at the end of the first movie that he's Iron Man. But that's why I enjoy Iron Man 2 more than Iron Man 1. Iron Man 1 is probably the more well-made. But for me, Iron Man 2, all the setup's already there. Yeah. So it's just kind of letting the plot out.
Iron Man 1 definitely was directed a little... I mean, it was the same director for both of them, but I think he definitely had more control with the first one because there wasn't like as much...
Iron Man wasn't really a big character. He had fans and he had important storylines, but for the mainstream... he had been portrayed once in some random TV pilot or something.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like, who cares? We're just going to throw it out and see what happens. And obviously now, he's iconic, but...
I feel like I'm going to have to get you a little side table for your drink.
No.
Because every single time you lay it down, I just hear the clunk.
We need
It's
that
very
funk.
soft, but I can
We
hear
need
it.
it.
I'm trying to add filler into this episode right now.
Thank you.
Are you sure about that? Do you want me to go next for
Yes.
number? what are
If
we
you
on?
would, sir.
Are we on 2?
Yeah.
My number 2 is Captain America, the First Avenger. I think for me, I mean, a lot of people don't like Steve Rogers' character, and I get that. He's a pretty bland, run-of-the-mill character. But I think just the world build that they did with that movie. I wasn't trying to rub your leg. I needed to scratch mine. I love when we talk about things that nobody else can see right now. Jesus Christ. I'm going to have to edit that loud bang out now.
No, you're not.
Thanks for that. What was I saying? Jeez. They literally built, like, the past, like, because, I mean, obviously he's the first Avenger, so it's like, how many superheroes were there, like, from him to Iron Man? Like, somebody probably looked up to him and was like, oh my god, that's a superhero. I want to be like that guy.
Yeah.
And so it's kind of interesting, like, and I mean, there's still like that gap where we're slowly getting stuff filled in because I mean, we got some with Ant-Man, some with Captain Marvel, and so like it's really cool to see some things get kind of filled in as we go, and Black Panther, I guess too, but he wasn't really a hero back then. He kind of still just protected Wakanda.
Yeah.
But I love that movie, especially like growing up as a scrawny little kid that always got like picked on and wanted to try to protect everyone but couldn't because of his size. So then you get to see this kid that was basically like me at the time. Not at the time, but when I was younger, and you just see him get transformed into like this, into Chris Evans. I'm just gonna say Chris Evans because originally it was not. It was Chris Evans on somebody else's body, which now you go back and look at that and you're like, man, I did not notice that, but now you can totally notice it.
Honestly, I think even back then I noticed because there's just something about it looked off.
Yeah. But
Not in a bad way.
I still enjoy it. I mean, obviously, like some of that stuff, it's definitely dated now. But
well, what's great about it is he's the same guy before and after, you know.
Like he didn't change who he was, and it's. I mean, because that's what the scientist tells him when he takes on you. He's like, you're a good man, and not a great soldier, but a good man. He was like, don't let this change who you are. And he's the only one who's taken the serum and it not change who they are. And so I kind of like that he, and even throughout the movie, because like there for a little bit, he was just like a campaign boy. That's all he was. He was just like a picture on a poster to tell people to join the army. That's all he was. And then he finally was like, no, I need to join the fight right now and try to save people's lives. And so I kind of like that he went in and fought and did all that.
Probably the first time we saw like a completely comic accurate costume.
Oh,
was
yeah.
In the campaign time saying he wear like the comic one.
Yeah, he
Because
did.
before that it was like someone would pull out the Hulk shorts or an X-Men costume and they'd be like, I'm not wearing that. Like,
well, they did that in the first Hulk movie.
Yeah.
They like pulled out the purple pants and he was like, I don't want to put those on. Purple doesn't look good on me.
Yeah.
And I was like, dang it. And they did the same with Thor. I mean, he had like the big winged helmet and he had that on for like maybe 3 scenes and then immediately never wore it again. But that's my number 2. I love the Captain America movie. And I know a lot of people don't like Steve Rogers' character because he is kind of bland.
Well, he's like the straight man in the MCU.
But I just loved his character. And the way Chris Evans played him, I think was amazing and top notch.
Oh, yeah. Nobody could do it better.
Oh, no. And I think, because like Jensen Ackles, I can't remember how
Jensen
Ackles, the guy who's in The Boys, and he was in, what's that movie? Supernatural. Or not movie, TV show. I think, because he auditioned and almost got it, I don't think I could see him as...
Chris Evans just was so...
He was such a good pick, I think. And so I really enjoyed that, and I love that movie. I can go back and rewatch that one. Honestly, all the Captain America movies are probably the ones that I can go back and rewatch
I've seen
all
Civil
the time.
War so many times.
I've seen Winter Soldier so often. So I mean, this is a spoiler for my Phase 2 ranking, but like, but like all the Captain America movies, I can go back and just rewatch constantly. I just loved everything that they did with them, and obviously like Winter Soldier and Civil War had the same directors, and the Russo brothers, who did an amazing job with all, like, I mean, the end of the Infinity Saga and everything. So.
My number 2 is also Captain America.
I figured so. So our number 1 is exactly the same.
But there's not too much I can really add, but I would say that's definitely the first solo movie where I was like, I actually kind of like these.
Yeah.
Because I always, whatever superhero movie was coming out, even in the dark ages of Daredevil and Elektra, I'd watch them all. And the Raimi Spider-Mans were decent. They haven't aged too well. But at the time, I enjoyed them.
I can still rewatch Spider-Man 2.
Spider-Man 2 is a good
It's just so good. I don't know why.
I don't feel like I had really seen superhero movies where I was like, these are great. But Captain America was definitely one of them. It was awesome just seeing, like, it was cool seeing him become like this super soldier, but he stayed a good man, and it was fun seeing Peggy kind of overcome the odds of the time for her, and just seeing how they overcame so much. There's other characters in the movie, but
no, I mean, you get Iron Man's dad for the first
Howard
time.
Stark, yeah.
Because I mean, did you get Howard Stark in Iron Man 1? I can't remember. I don't think he showed up. I think he was mentioned, but he didn't show up. Because in Iron Man 2, he does show up in like the video.
But Peggy and Steve Rogers carried.
Yeah. And you got to see the Howling Commandos, even though they didn't really do very much, which I kind of wish we got to see more. I know if you go and watch the Peggy Carter series, I think the Howling Commandos show up a little bit in that. So
Red Skull was a fun villain.
Yeah. I understand why because I can't remember who it was that played Red Skull, but I understand why he didn't come back.
Hugo Weaving.
Yeah, because he didn't like the prosthetics that he would wear, which
understandable.
Makes sense. But he looked amazing as Red Skull, and I think that was one villain that I'm like, damn, I wish he could come back, like, actually as Red Skull. Because, I mean, spoiler, we know he comes back, but he's not the same Red Skull, which kind of sucks. I would have loved to see, like, a 2000s version of Red Skull trying to take over with all the weird Nazi stuff. But
one thing about Captain America I love that I think kind of goes under the radar, just because there's so much good about it, you can't really go on and on about everything.
Yeah.
But it looks pretty. Like, the cinematography looks really good. I feel like Thor and the Iron Man movies and Incredible Hulk.
I will say a lot of the early Phase 1 stuff, until we get to Avengers, a lot of the choreography fights feel kind of weird, especially with the first Captain America, because a lot of what he does is a lot of hand-to-hand combat, and a lot of his fight scenes seem kind of weird, but they definitely fixed that.
I would say they were good. I more so have a problem with Thor and all those Dutch angles all the time. I don't understand.
I mean, I will say Phase 2, like, their choreography for battle scenes was so much better, especially Winter Soldier. Like, they did such an amazing job with the fights and that.
Mm-hmm.
But, yeah, number 2, Captain America. Great movie, I think. Good. I think if you are unsure if you want to get into the MCU stuff, a lot of people are like, well, you got to watch Iron Man first. You got to watch it. I was like, nah. I think you should probably check out Captain America and then try, like, Iron Man and all the other stuff.
Yep, I would definitely
agree. And if you didn't want to, I mean, I guess you could always just jump straight into Avengers. But
Speaking of
Avengers, number 1,
for
I'm guessing
both
for
of
both of us, is the first Avengers, which set up the first team up of this young squad. Not really young.
This young squad of 40-year-olds.
Yeah, 40
30 to 40-year-olds.
Oh, man. But definitely, that one, it was something else. I know some people don't like because it's kind of slow in some parts, but I just loved everything about that. The score that we got for the fight, everything. The villain, I think, was actually like a good villain that, I mean, we've seen before.
He was established. Yeah, he was established.
Yeah, because he got established in the first Thor. And so then, I mean, it's Loki. So, like, what? No. Seeing him come in as the villain, and, like, he has the army of the Chitauri soldiers, and it's just, what is he gonna do? Like,
It feels big scale.
yeah, even though it's in comparison to things that come after it, it's so small, and what comes after with whose army it actually is. And so, like, you go and watch it, and you're just like, where did he get this army? Whose army is this? And you're just like, oh no. Because at the end of it, is that when we get our first, like,
Look
smile
at Thanos.
of Thor? Or Thanos. Not Thor. Not Thanos.
Probably
Thanos.
Thor too.
Because he, like, turns around on his chair, and it's not even Josh Brolin. It's somebody else, and he just gives that, like, grin, and you're just like, oh no. What's going to happen here? So, like, that set up, like, the bigger MCU right there. Like, a lot of the stuff that came before it was small little details added in to get you kind of used to the characters and fall in love with these characters. And then
just get the idea that something bigger is brewing.
Yeah, and then you get that end credit, and you're just like, oh my god, something's coming soon. And I think it was just phenomenal. And, I mean, obviously Phil Coulson, he goes out in a hero's death, and
till a TV show.
Yeah, until the TV show.
That's probably not canon. Who knows?
I have no idea. I don't know what's canon anymore with those shows. But I mean, I don't like Captain America's suit in this.
See, people complain about it, but I enjoy it. I'm glad it didn't stay.
I liked seeing it in, what was it, Endgame? I like seeing it again in that, but in that movie, I don't know why. His head just looked goofy.
It does.
And it looked
but
like
I
he had
enjoyed
like
it for
a
a
rubber head, and so I was just like, oh no. And in this movie, we also get Mark Ruffalo as the Hulk.
Yes.
And I think he did a really, really good job coming in and taking over as the Hulk. And honestly, if you had told me that the Incredible Hulk is technically the same movie and it's in the MCU, I would have originally been like, no, it's not. This guy is not the same as that guy. Like, they act totally different, but I think he does a good job as Bruce. He's a really good Bruce Banner. I will say that. Like, I 100%. Really like him as Bruce Banner. I like him more than Edward Norton as Bruce Banner. But his Hulk could be better, I think. But I still liked it.
Even in this movie, he still has that terrifying, like, the scene in the helicarrier or whatever, when he's chasing Black Widow, feels scary whenever he grabs Loki and slams around. I mean, everybody knows that scene.
Yeah.
You feel dangerous. You feel like if you're next to him, you couldn't breathe. You'd be so terrified.
I'll definitely have to say my favorite scene in that movie was, so it's when we first meet. When they first meet up, when Iron Man, Cap, and Thor basically first meet up, and so Loki comes crashing down, and then Thor's like, he's my brother or something like that, and Iron Man's like, or Cap is like, well, we have to think of a plan, and Iron Man's like, I have a plan, and he just drops into the battle, and then you get that whole battle sequence, and Captain America's like. Or Black Widow's trying to tell Captain America not to go into the fight because he's just a regular human. These people are gods. Like, you're going to die. And he's like, nah, I'm going to do it. And just jumps down anyways, which I loved. And then you get that whole fight in the forest. Yeah. Where Thor, Iron Man are just, like, whacking each other. And then Thor shoots Iron Man with electricity and powers up his suit.
The movie does a good job of balancing the tones of the characters and all the pre-established storylines in just a way that hadn't been, like, it's been said a billion times, but this was the first real team-up movie that was structured from different plot lines of different different solo movies. You had, 5 movies that it had to balance?
Yeah.
And that's just, I mean, Joss Whedon's a piece of shit, but...
But he did a good job with this one. The second one, maybe not so. I still love Age of Ultron, but just for certain things that happened in it. But overall, that movie's not nearly as good as this one. But, I mean, you get that battle scene, and then you get Thor coming down on top of Captain America, smacks his shield, and you get the dong, and it just shoots like a sound beam across the forest and cuts down a bunch of trees.
The idea of Thor's thunder charging Iron Man's suit was awesome.
Yes.
It felt like out of a comic book.
Yeah. Then you get, then you kind of move past that. You get to the helicarrier and Captain America's. Of course, he's a guy who was in World War II, and now he's in the modern world, and so like he's seeing all this new technology, and he's just totally astounded by it. Because then like Black Widow's like, hey, we have to get inside. We're about to take off, and Bruce, I think it's Bruce and Cap, and they're like having the conversation on whether or not it's a submarine or it's a plane. And Bruce says it's a plane, Cap says it's a submarine, and then obviously Cap loses that battle because then the helicarrier lifts out of the water and goes and obviously becomes a helicarrier.
I always kind of wanted the bromance of Steve and Bruce to be more of a thing than just that movie, because I know Bruce is such a fanboy about meeting him. Yeah,
because he was experimenting to make that exact serum.
And Steve like really had his back, making sure his anger was under control, and just being like, "You're a good scientist. I don't care about the whole part."
Then you had Iron Man.
Or is this Iron Man? Am I mixing Steve and Iron Man?
No, because Iron Man's poking him and trying to make him.
You're right.
Change because he wanted to see
and
what
Steve's
happened.
like back off, yeah.
Yeah, and which is funny because like the Robert Downey Jr. like had like snacks hidden around him on set, so he's like pulling out.
Okay,
I like that for his character.
I'm remembering now
because he's like eating the. I don't remember. It was like Chex Mix, and he like pokes him with the pencil like a few times, trying to get him to react.
So Bruce is like, "Have you heard about me?" And Steve says, "Only the parts that matter."
Yeah.
Like I just
he's
love
a good
stuff
person.
like that.
He's not like
he's smart and he's a decent guy. The other stuff, if it comes up, we'll deal with it then. But I'm not gonna tiptoe around you because you're here for the same cause I am. That's the thing. You feel like. No matter how much they clash, they're all here for the same reason. They want to protect the people. They just have chaotically different ways of doing it.
I think next we should definitely talk about the villain of this movie, Loki. I know a lot of people are like crossed on how they feel about Loki as a villain and this, that, and the other. I think he played a really good villain in this movie.
Definitely.
Especially when he goes to, what was it, like the ballroom dance. I can't remember what it was. It was like some kind of thing.
Something like that.
He was like suited up and he just attacks that guy and rips out his eye or clones his eye or does like a hologram of his eye to get into the building. And like that's just insane. And then like he goes throughout like the crowd in Germany and he's just like kneel and like telling everybody to get down and just like, oh my god, like he feels like a threat in this. And then after that he doesn't really feel like a threat. But it's just insane. And then you get Captain America showing up, and he's just like, the last time I saw somebody standing above everybody else kneeling, he basically was like, I don't like bullies. And so I think that whole scene, like, you kind of were like, oh my god, Loki actually feels like the villain here. We're going really deep into the first Avengers, but I think it's good.
It's earned it. Well, because I remember at school when it came out, everybody talking about it. And that was still the point where I didn't care too much about superhero stuff. I mean, I enjoyed, superhero stuff, but the idea of an event movie was still pretty, like, besides Avatar, and I couldn't think of big event movies, but everybody at school was excited about it. Everybody on the internet was talking about it. I was like, and when I went to go watch it, I was like, so this is what a movie can feel like a premiere. And
it's such a good movie, and it was awesome, and the villain, and then you get Loki coming in with the Chitauri army, and Hawkeye gets good moments, Black Widow gets some good moments, and then you get that amazing team up moment where they huddle around in that circle, that very iconic moment, and you're just like, oh my god, like this is the comics in real life. Like you're like, this is so awesome to see this. And then, like, all of them really work together. Like, they start working better as a team, and you're just like, wow, this is what a comic book movie should feel like. And obviously, they based a lot of other movies kind of off how this one played around with the team up stuff, but it was so great. Definitely,
For better and worse sometimes.
Exactly. But I just love. I mean, obviously, they kind of did that same roundup thing in the second Avengers, and it didn't work out as well, I don't think. It didn't have the same feeling as this one did. And then you get them taking down Loki. I mean, what else can you ask for? But yeah, you get that, and you get the final wrap up of everything, and they go and get shawarma. Is that what they got? I can't remember.
Yeah. Even in Miss Marvel, they bring up getting shawarma. I was like, I got that reference.
I get that. That's another Avengers 1 reference.
Yeah, a lot of memes and stuff definitely came out of this movie.
At the table. So, but yeah, that's number one. Definitely out of the Phase 1 movies, like that one. It just hits home. It brings in all these different storylines really well and feeds it back out and kind of adds to the overall story, especially going into Phase 2 stuff. Because even like Phase 2 stuff, like it still pulls out from like the first Avengers, which is just awesome. So
Black Widow had a good introduction in the movie, I think.
Oh yeah.
Better than Iron Man 2. I feel like Iron Man 2 was, for the most part, kind of whatever with her, but seeing her get out and just do spy stuff and then going to recruit Hulk.
Oh yeah, I agree.
All that stuff was fun.
Yeah. But I mean, I don't really have anything else to say on this one, but it's definitely top movie, and I think if you, I mean, I did say to go watch Captain America: The First Avenger, but if you're still just kind of like, I don't really want to watch any of these setup movies, I just want to try to get into where everybody's at now in terms of MCU content, I think watching the first Avengers is probably like, because you get a good feel of who the characters were, because they're still pretty much the same as they were in their solos.
Yeah.
And then you also get like build on that. So.
Well, even the other Avengers movies, you're getting dropped in a point in time that's not necessarily picking straight up from their last solo movie.
Well,
so if you came into this with that kind of idea, like you're getting dropped into a certain point in time. Well, at least Age of Ultron was
I think
that
the
way.
only like phase that I feel like maybe you should watch almost every single movie that came out might be Phase 3.
Yeah.
And that's just because, like, especially near the end, so much is set up. Like, so much gets set up, like, at the end of Phase 3 for, like, the 2 Avengers movies that came out.
Mm-hmm.
And so if you miss, like, some small details, you're kind of like, wait, where was this character this whole time kind of thing. So, but love that movie. That's our Phase 1 rankings. Definitely plan on doing Phase 2. There's a lot more movies in that one, so I have to write some notes. I'll have to actually write notes beforehand.
No.
Listen.
We're keeping this on.
No.
Nah, we'll write notes, but not too scripted.
Just kind of like to look at. And
not be so crazy and all over the place.
Exactly, because I think that last one was our Thor review was pretty all over the place with something. I think we could have been more structured, but
no,
not a big deal. I'm not worried about it. I don't know. Next week, hopefully, we record with our friend some good juicy old movie that
classic
it's
horror.
It's a good classic movie. Hopefully, you can get here and we can record that. If not, then we'll have something else for sure for you guys to listen to. But if you want to email us, go ahead and email us at outloud&awkward@gmail.com. What's our socials? I can't talk.
OutLoud, and that's the ampersand for and awkward, no spaces on Instagram and Twitter. Make sure you flood the emails telling Richard to watch that spell.
Don't do that.
We need this hype train going. We need the pod to really give us the goods on those kind of series that don't get as much attention.
I think if he doesn't come around to record that, we should definitely talk about something anime next week. I think that would be good. A good one to go off on.
Email that you want, Zatchbell.
No. That means I would have so much that I'd have.
You don't have to finish. Look, first 5 episodes or first 10 chapters, whatever.
Just go ahead and get into it.
You dip your toe in. You kind of see where the story's going. There's basically a battle an episode, so you get a good.
Or how do I read it? You don't know.
We'll discuss that.
Okay.
I'll get you sauced up.
All right. Well, we will catch you guys in the next episode. I hope you all did enjoy. Make sure to subscribe to catch some more episodes from us as we come out. That's all I got. You got anything else to add?
You know what to email.
You're not going to say peace out, Girl Scout, like you do every episode?
Peace out, Girl Scout.
That's going to be your grab that gem that Mesa has on the weekly planet?
No.
No? All right, we'll catch you guys on the next one. See ya. Cut it right there. We're gonna have a